In a flash of fire and blood, dragons returned to the world. These regal, ferocious beasts, like all other outlandish creatures in the realm of ice and fire, had been presumed extinct. They were the subject of myth, legend, and hearsay, but never again were they thought to roam the earth. The hatching of the three eggs, however, changed all this. From shells long thought to be nothing more than speckled stones, the three beasts emerged, and though all were beautiful to behold, one stood mightier than the rest. This was Drogon. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Exploring Fiction. The favorite of his mother from the time he was born, Drogon was the fiercest beast in all known Westeros and Essos combined. But more than just a dragon in his own right, he harkened back to the beasts of old, specifically a dragon of similar hue. Balerion the Black Dread conquered all Westeros with his rider, and many who viewed Drogon in the current narrative believed him to be the Conqueror's steed reborn. Both were hued in black scales, and both were the largest of their living kind. As the dragonrider, and the family she represented, looked to gain prominence in the world once more, so too did dragons, and none was feared and respected more than the reincarnation of Balerion himself. So, who exactly is Drogon, and why is he such an interesting character? Let's explore. Drogon first appears in A Game of Thrones, the first novel of A Song of Ice and Fire, though he has yet to hatch. Instead, he, along with his other kin, is contained within an egg long thought to be petrified. Drogon's egg is black as pitch with scarlet swirls, and is one of three gifted to Daenerys Targaryen by Magister Illyrio Mopatis at the girl's wedding to Khal Drogo. Humbled and awed as everyone else, she accepts the eggs, though even to the blood of the dragon, they appear no more than fanciful stones. But as Daenerys suffers multiple tragedies and betrayals, she harnesses the fire and blood upon which her house is so staunchly built. Her husband, Drogo, succumbs to his wounds, and the captured and freed Magi Mirri Maz Dur not only fails to save him, but robs Daenerys of her unborn child in the process. For this insufferable act, the young Targaryen burns the witch at the stake upon Drogo's funeral pyre, where the three eggs are also set in a motion of grief. However, the eggs begin to crack, and Daenerys strides into the flames, possessed by a supernatural inclination. In the heat, all three eggs hatch, and for the first time in over a century, dragons roam the earth. From the black egg emerges Drogon. Although he is only a hatchling at the end of the first novel, with every day his features become more fearsome. Drogon is the largest of the three dragons, with sleek black scales dashed with deep red. Similarly, his eyes, wings, and horns are also scarlet in hue, though his teeth match his scales. His wingspan, at its pinnacle, spreads over 20 feet, and the only thing larger is Drogon's temper. He is the wildest of the three beasts, often near unmanageable, yet he never leaves his mother, at least not permanently. Appearing in the next volume, A Clash of Kings, Drogon grows larger by the day. Daenerys officially names him after her departed husband, and carries him on her shoulder as she parades through the streets of Qarth. She also brings her fledgling beast upon her arm into the House of the Undying, where the Mother of Dragons is plagued with countless visions and premonitions. Drogon seems to see these omens also, and attacks and destroys the Undying, allowing Daenerys to escape the structure unharmed. Still, the visit to the chief Warlocks troubles Daenerys, though Drogon is none the wiser. Drogon next appears in A Storm of Swords. Daenerys, with her ever-growing following, travels south by water, and Drogon is the first of her dragons both to fly and to hunt. He is not yet large enough to hold a rider, but his potential and likely future is clear. As the miscreant company arrives at Astapor, Drogon's master searches for an army. The nobility of the city agree to sell her the Unsullied, a stoic, unbreakable band of warriors, but in return, they ask for Drogon. Daenerys agrees, much to her dragon's protest, but when the soldiers officially fall under her command, she orders Drogon in the old Valyrian tongue to burn those who hold power in the city. And so, along with his pair of siblings, Drogon engulfs many of Astipor's masters in flame, cementing the Mother of Dragons as an emancipator, and himself as a legitimate force of fire and blood. Though he does not appear in A Feast for Crows, Drogon plays a larger role in A Dance with Dragons. Daenerys, and by proxy her dragons, have settled in the city of Meereen. Despite her grand ambitions, the Mother of Dragons seems content, though many throughout the city fear and secretly loathe her great beasts. One man, a simple resident of Meereen, even presents Daenerys with the charred bones of his daughter, claiming Drogon the culprit for her death. Rightly disturbed, Daenerys orders her dragons ensnared in chains and imprisoned within a makeshift dragon pit, and while Rhaegal and Viserion are tamed, Drogon is not so similarly trodden upon. Burning any and all who attempt to cage him, he departs from Meereen on ever-growing wings, last seen making for the grassy lands of the Dothraki. The great black beast is absent from the narrative for some time, but yet more fire and blood draws him back to his queen's city. In order to appease her subjects, Daenerys has reopened the Meereenese fighting pits, and as the grand spectacle at Daznak's pit reaches its pinnacle, Drogon returns, circling the location full of such heavy bloodshed. Drogon has grown even larger in his absence from Meereen, and he drowns the place in shadow. Descending into the pit, the place becomes a haze of fire, smoke, blood, flesh, and ash as he sets it ablaze. Multiple men try to kill him, and one even stabs him with a spear. But when Hizdahr zo Loraq, husband to Daenerys Targaryen, orders his men to fell Drogon at any cost, the Mother of Dragons rushes to the beast's side. Though he has undoubtedly been her dragon, even Daenerys is fearful of the Black Behemoth. They exchange blows, she with a whip and he with flame. But Daenerys is unfazed, leaping onto Drogon's back. The dragon takes to the sky as Daenerys clings for her life to his scales, thus becoming the first dragonrider in the world since the glorious days of her forebears. Drogon carries her to a rocky hill in the midst of the Dothraki Sea, and though she begins to assert command over him, Daenerys cannot cajole him back toward Meereen. Instead, she attempts to return on foot, but grows weary and delirious. A great Khalasar approaches, marveling at the girl and her monstrous black dragon. Both to those in the narrative and those outside it, Drogon resembles more than just the greatest dragon of his own time. He resembles one of his brethren, who is also the apex predator of his age. The similarities between Drogon and Balerion are evident. There are, of course, the surface-level comparisons. Both possess black scales and immense size, at least relative to the other beasts of their time. Both carry a Targaryen rider bent on conquest. Both display temperaments that border between chained giant and untamable horror. All these traits lead those across the world of ice and fire to proclaim Drogon as Balerion reincarnated, and for good reason. Yet, they are similar still in what they represent to the world and to their adoptive family. Balerion, though he later carried a less renowned Targaryen, ferried Aegon the Conqueror to the mainland of Westeros, and helped the first great king of that family dynasty to unify kingdoms with a swiftness never before seen. The Black Dread grew to be ancient, yet the shadow of his presence never diminished. He was the foundation upon which the Targaryens first built their empire, and though it has yet to come to fruition, Drogon is undoubtedly much the same. While Balerion was simply the largest of his kind while he still lived, Drogon is one of the last of his kind upon a world of diminishing wonder. He is the largest of the three dragons, and the wildest at that. While none can question the ferocity of Rhaegal and Viserion, it is Drogon who strikes equal amounts of fear and wonder into the hearts of all who behold him. He is the key to Daenerys' success, the hammer she shall use to bend her enemies to her will. There seems no beast in the living world who can defeat him, just as the same was with Balerion. So though the Black Dread and the new Black Dread garner similar comparisons through their tangible features, they share a deeper connection, one which unfolds still. From an egg none thought would ever bear a living being, a black dragon hatched. Even amongst other creatures of its kind, it grew to be the largest, wildest, and most formidable of the beasts. Drogon would remain at the side of his master, though he had the ability to be freed of any mental or physical chains if he wished. All who beheld him immediately thought of Balerion, also the greatest dragon, just of a different age. The Black Dread once empowered a Targaryen to conquer the Seven Kingdoms, and hope was alive that Drogon could do the same. In many ways both obvious and unseen, Drogon became the new Black Dread. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here, I'd love to have you. Visit my website russellawellsauthor.com for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more, and sign up for my mailing list for free exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.